All right, everyone. RFK Jr. is very quickly rising up in the ranks of people that are most efficient within the Trump administration. I liked how the legacy media is so worried about him that they tried to make a MAGA versus Maha sort of, AstroTurf civil war or feud or something like that. That was only a few days ago, and it was never really real. Link in the description, archived, of course. Of course, ASIP was dissolved, and the leadership was dissolved the other day. This is like 48 hours ago. Now, RFK Jr. has filled those roles again. You have some spectacular choices with regards to the people that were put on ASIP. Of course, this advises the CDC with regards to things about like immunization, vaccination, those sorts of things. You have Malone. Yes, indeed. You have Pagano, who is an eminent physicist, by the way. You have Kuldorf, who worked with Bhattacharya, actually, which means that that one was a kickback. These sorts of individuals that I'm looking at on the list of who is now leading ASIP is much better than before. And what RFK Jr. pointed out was that there were a bunch of conflicts of interest, people working directly with pharmaceutical firms and so forth, and they were the ones advising CDC procedure. Uh, don't worry, YouTube, I'm not getting into vaccine unawareness or anything like that. I'm just saying that there were legal conflicts of interest with regards to the people that were actually on the board, actually in that advisory capacity. RFK Jr. looked through them and identified them and said, God damn, every single person on this panel is compromised. Well, clearly we're going to have to clean house, so he just fired every single one of them. I'm surprised that a court hasn't already found it unconstitutional for him to fire people within his own department. Let's put it that way. I have no doubt that there will be some legal attempts that are made. It seems like everything this administration does, the Trump administration, whether it's Trump himself or anyone working for him, it seems like virtually everything is either injuncted by a court or it comes under congressional review or something like that. Seems to it's happened hundreds of times. Well, he's only been in office for a short period of time. These people have only been in their positions for a short period of time. Pretty much all of them are legally injuncted, at least at one venture. With RFK Jr., he seems to do a little bit better. They seem to be leaving him alone a little bit more, which actually normally would make me suspicious. In this case, though, I think that his conversion was actually real. I think that he realized that the Democratic Party was no longer the party of his dad or his uncle, um, RFK and JFK respectively, and that it basically left its own ideals behind and had switched effectively. Instead of being the party of, relatively speaking, free speech, it had become the party of censorship and so forth. As far as medicine, RFK Jr. appears almost obsessed with the concept of healthy living. I don't see this as a bad thing. Now, I am pro-vaccine, actually. That being said, you can build up human health in other ways. Sanitation is very important. For instance, we never could have eradicated polio without sanitation campaigns to try to reduce the rodent population and so forth. This was even understood during the Black Death. Some people don't realize this. Nostradamus, before he made his quatrains, was a plague doctor. And one of the things that he prescribed was blasting out the swampy, shit filled areas that were breeding rats and fleas and shit like that with fresh water by diverting streams and things like that, irrigating the area and flushing out the waste. This probably saved millions of lives, by the way. He also gave out pills made with rose and stuff like that. Those probably didn't do much against the plague. But he was actually a plague doctor. And when his advice was heeded, it reduced the death level. RFK Jr. is effectively a modern day Nostradamus in that effect because he's telling you that, hey, sanitation, healthy eating, exercise, things like that, those are just as important to human health. You can't just rely upon vaccination alone. And this is the truth. If you build up your body, like you don't need to be like a muscle man or something like that. All you need to do is be reasonably healthy. That's all you need to do. Get rid of some of the processed food, replace it with nice fresh greens and dairy products and things like that. Buy local more often and stuff like that. All that, that's all you have to do. And meditate and do yoga, whatever the hell you want to do. Maybe you do decide to go to the gym. That's fine as well. You can do all of these things and it helps to build your immune system. And this is fact. It's not up for argument. If you eat a better diet and get more exercise and things like that, this has not really been argued against for thousands of years. Only lately do we get these stupid movements that say, well, healthy at any size. Okay, well, you're 700 pounds. I don't think you're healthy. I do not believe that that is a thing. It's okay to be chubby. It's okay to have a little, meat on them bones or something like that, especially if you're a girl. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you get to the point where you can't even walk, if you're 7,000 pounds, you're not going to be healthy. If all you eat all day is nacho chips, you're probably not going to be healthy. I mean, it's self-explanatory. It's not, again, it's not really up for debate. And RFK Jr. is a proponent of healthy living. If you just lose 5 pounds, or if you're skinny like me, you don't really need to lose weight, maybe I should gain a little bit more muscle. I'd probably be a little bit healthier. And probably, don't use the heroin or something like that. That's probably good health advice. But all of these things are slowly being accepted incrementally, as do communist infiltration, quite literally into the country. Communists are the ones pushing all of these particular campaigns, literally. It's still the same people that were trying to undermine the Western world before. And there are other groups involved. You probably know who I'm speaking of. Um, by the way, never mind. RFK Jr. has made a new panel. It is much better than the one that came before. Before, it's, hey, vaccination is the end all be all of human health. Now it's vaccination's fine, but you have these other things that you can do in order to improve human health overall. Eating better, exercise, sanitation, things like that. Again, we could not have eradicated either rinderpest or polio if we had not engaged in extensive sanitation campaigns. Malaria in North America was defeated by sanitation campaigns and by pesticides that are now banned, unfortunately. I believe we should bring DDT back because I guarantee that's not what resulted in the death of so many eagles. Let's put it that way. I happen to be pro DDT. That's about all. Peace out.